The money, when you have a copyright issue, it goes into escrow on like YouTube and whatnot, and so when it's resolved, then the person gets the money, and hopefully the person will be me and not Ace of Base, Swedish 90s band.
Wow.
Hello and welcome to the Abroad Japan podcast. Probably the best way of learning about life in Japan without actually being in Japan. Don't know why I point at myself like I'm not in Japan there, but I am in Japan, and I'm joined by England's top Japan enthusiast, Mr. Pete Dawson himself. Pete, how the devil are you doing? He's not in Japan.
I'm not in Japan, no, and I'm not even pressing record on the recording this morning. We recorded about 4 minutes and then we had to go back and start again because I did not click record. We got through so much stuff in those 4 minutes. Chris told us about his brand new video. So let's talk about your brand new video, Chris. I very much enjoyed it. You were furious at everyone. You were teaching people how to become better at learning kanji.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first video I've put out in 6 weeks, and it sort of got off to a terrible start because I got a copyright strike the moment it was uploaded. I bought a song, The Sign by Ace of Base, because the whole video revolves literally around a sign. I thought, what better song? What better song to fit the aesthetic of the video? And then got a copyright strike because the company I bought it from didn't do their job and it didn't work. So the video got penalised for it, which is a bit annoying. Hopefully they can find a way to release the copyright down the road, but it was a shame. It's a bit anticlimactic. You wait 6 weeks for a video, you kick it out the door, and then someone breaks its legs. Alas. How
do you kind of deal with that, though? Because it's you spend so much time on a video, and a company that would supposed to be licensing the music that you've requested, surely there's some kind of financial recourse there. You've lost out millions, I imagine. Millions.
Probably 30 quid. No, I'll get the money back. The money, when you have a copyright issue, it goes into escrow on like YouTube and whatnot, and so when it's resolved, then the person gets the money, and hopefully the person will be me and not Ace of Base, Swedish 90s band, whose song I used. But yeah, let's hope that's resolved. But it was fun. It was a weird video. I was angry at everyone, probably including myself. I was angry at this man who banned people that didn't speak Japanese from his restaurant. I was angry at the way Japanese media portrays foreign tourists as being sort of solely responsible for all the ills and all the wrongs in Japan. And I was angry at foreign tourists for being responsible solely for all the ills and wrongs in Japan. In a new story that we're going to talk about in a little bit involving Mount Fuji and a wall. And then I was angry at myself for not studying Japanese more. So anger all round in my element.
Spraying it around. This is why people got involved with the Abroad Japan podcast and the Abroad Japan video set in the first instance, Chris, because you are at your best when you are non-discriminately spraying out hatred left, right and centre and frustration. This is exactly why you're the angry British guy, sarcastic British guy in Japan. That's your brand. Forget your mild-mannered books that you're hawking to us about your life in Japan. We want to hear how angry you are about some Japanese English or some stupid people being silly.
Well, I'm especially angry at you today for not hitting with the record button. 4 minutes of amazing, revelatory podcast dialogue. And
Dave Bautista's
he talked about Dave Bautista and all sorts of things, and then he didn't hit record. So
sorry everyone. Sorry, Dave Bautista fans.
I don't even know how you brought up Dave Bautista, but we were talking about how he... I think he's had a good little career. Blade Runner 2049, June, Knives Out 2.
I think every time Dave Bautista is on YouTube, because he's got some Filipino pride tattoos that share some certain aspects with Illuminati stuff. A lot of conspiracy theorists go on in the comments and say, Illuminati. Definitely the mark of the Illuminati, when in fact he's just very proud about his family and proud about where he came from, and I commented, I think, that if Dave Bautista was part of the Illuminati, he probably would have had a slightly better film career, because that's kind of what he wants to do now. He's never coming back to wrestling.
I think he's had a good film career though. I think he's had a good one. And
he needs some leading roles. Get him in some leading roles. Well, he's very charismatic. He's a funny guy.
He was sort of the lead role in Army of the Dead, I think, but compared to The Rock, who plays The Rock in every movie, just Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and he just repeats the phrase, "My family, it's about family," over and over again. Although we're best friends because he tweeted me once. Dave Bautista does actually do a bit more acting and is a better actor, I would say. So, yeah, really good stuff. Don't know, quite the segue there onto David Bautista. But go and watch him in June if you haven't seen it yet, or Dune, as it's known in North America. We got a story this week from Tiffany from Manchester, who says, "Hello, Chris and Pete. Last year, a friend and I went to Japan in April, visiting the Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto. After we completed the long, seemingly never-ending climb, we decided to take a different path back down, heading off the beaten track. We ended up going through a dark, deserted forest, only passing one man on the path. Was it Dave Bautista? We were starting to become worried that we'd navigated in completely the wrong direction when suddenly we popped out into a residential area in the back streets of Kyoto. It was nice to see the suburbs of Kyoto instead of the bustling, tourist-crammed streets, albeit by total accident. As we navigated back to the main road, it started to rain hard and we didn't have any waterproofs on. We'd only been in the rain for a few moments when a lovely Japanese lady suddenly came running out of her house, extending an umbrella towards us. She didn't speak a word of English, but the consideration that she showed made us smile from ear to ear. Have either of you got lost while travelling, yet had this sort of unique experience, or caused a great discovery on your travels while being lost? Love the podcast. Tiffany from Manchester." That's a lovely contrast to the stories of Kyoto we typically hear, where everyone in Kyoto hates tourists these days. Lovely stuff. Lovely.
Yeah. I would say that, like, what I like about Japan is that at any point you need to be prepared for the fact it is going to rain, and it's going to rain harder than you've ever experienced rain in your entire life. Imagine like those people who live in, like, I don't know, Texas gets a bit of rain, but like it doesn't get a huge amount of like massive crazy weather. He says, with floods and snow and all that stuff that came quite recently. But imagine coming from somewhere that just doesn't get that much rain, like, you know, the middle of Africa or something, and then travelling to Japan and then having to deal with like just biblical amounts of rain. How does because they're talking about, like, say London's going to be like I think it's a sponge city, I think they call it, being able to sort of deal with loads and loads of rainwater, because we're getting more and more rain as climate change changes the planet we live on, and they're going to change how
triggered
London
by your
works.
Toyota, your very own Toyota
let's not
all the smoke coming out of that old car.
Let's not blame the man who wanted a car. Let's not blame. To be fair, I waited until I was 40 to learn to drive, so I've got a load of fuel in the tank. I've got a lot of good vibes, I would say. I was public transport till 40, all right? Then I lived out in the sticks and we don't have it out there. But imagine like dealing with like just crazy amounts of rain. I don't know how the sort of Japanese sewage system, the Chinese sewage system, the Taiwanese, the Korean sewage system deals with so much water all of the time.
Yes, I don't know the answer to that. But I do know, like, when it rains here, you typically have it'll be like a nice day, then the dark clouds roll in, it rains so hard it'll pierce your umbrella, and then it goes again. Whereas in the UK, it's like perpetually just shit. It's like drizzle. So when it rains, it does. And it's coming up to June, which is rainy season. So get your umbrellas ready. Hopefully someone in Kyoto, if you're there, will run out with an umbrella and save you. That would be wonderful.
But as soon as it stops, you just kind of you become very steamy, and then you're dry almost instantly. It's amazing.
It's true. It's the humidity, the horrible weather. But Fuji, this fucking story's been driving me mad all week.
Not
it's
go away, will
everywhere.
it?
I'm so sick of it, but we're going to talk about it now because everyone and their mum knows about it, and everyone wants to hear us talk about it. There's a mountain. It's called Mount Fuji.
It's a mountain.
And for billions of years, man has gone to the Chureito Pagoda and got a lovely shot of it. It's on all the Japan guides. The pagoda, Fuji, stunning. But there's a new shot in town, a new view, a new perspective, and it's Mount Fuji behind a Lawson, and everyone has got this shot on Instagram, TikTok, whatever people use these days, Snapchat, and the photos gone everywhere, and everyone now has to get the bus to Kawaguchi to get the shot of Lawson and Mount Fuji. But the people aren't happy because there's litter, rubbish, mess. I saw footage of it looked like a battle. It looked like fucking the battle out of Helm's Deep. There's just a sea of like foreign tourists running across a road screaming.
Right.
So I'm sort of sympathetic. But tell us about this news story, Pete. What's going on at Mount Fuji, and what have they done about this view? How have they got rid of the view?
There's a town called Fuji Kawaguchiko, a place at the foot, as you can imagine, of Mount Fuji.
The toe.
And it's been feeling the impact of a surge in tourism. Arrivals to Japan have soared recently, driven by a weak yen and a post-pandemic travel boom. And it seems like a majority of tourists have decided to go to one place. A little supermarket at the base of Mount Fuji, a 7-Eleven, a Lawson, if you will. And we spoke about this a few weeks ago about tourism having being a real problem in this town and people throwing litter around and stuff. And people are just trying to get this very specific shot of the image of capitalism, the Lawson, the shop, the base of this kind of like beautiful shot of Mount Fuji. And tourists upon tourists are just blocking traffic, littering, being a pain in the arse of residents in the area who are presumably trying to just access their local Lawson. And they're all trying to get the same identical, unimaginative picture of Mount Fuji. And the situation hasn't really improved. The council has now erected a big black mesh. They've erected a big black mesh, 7 foot high, the same length as a cricket pitch, so that the view is obscured. And it's kind of sad that the council are setting this up. And to be honest, it's kind of even sadder that it's become such a big story, because it makes foreign tourists look absolutely dreadful, and it does engender a real kind of moral panic on any kind of small island, one would say. And so, with the people being banned from certain streets in Kyoto, Japan is in full-on tourist panic right now, even though it adds a lot to the economy. It has to be said. I mean, you talk about a weak yen. The only way you're going to fight your way out of that is lots of people coming to your fucking country, I'm afraid, right now. So it is sad, because you hate to see local residents being put out. I would say you live in Fuji Kawaguchiko, though. I would say you live next to the most famous mountain in the world. So I mean, come on, guys. If you're going to put a Lawson next to a Fuji, people are going to take shitty pictures. I've never understood, though, Chris. Have you ever kind of like, when you went to like New York or whatever, because you only went to like America quite recently, didn't you? You only went to New York quite recently. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, when I went to New York for the first time, probably about 15 years ago, I went on a little boat that took us over to the Statue of Liberty, and I didn't take a single picture of the Statue of Liberty, because I thought, you know what, the Statue of Liberty is there. It's always going to be there. It's people have been taking pictures of this bloody woman for ages, and I'm not going to take a better picture with my Fujifilm, whatever it was. I'm not going to take a better picture. So why am I even bothering? What is the point? So I never did take a picture of the Statue of Liberty, I don't think. And I've never understood why people want to take that identical shot. I never understand. There's a video kicking about, obviously, I can't remember if it's in your video or maybe PewDiePie's one, where a woman is chasing a geisha down the street.
I've seen that one, yeah.
It's amazing. And they're getting a really blurry shot of a geisha walking down the street, and she's trying to zigzag out of the way. Some woman's going, "That's disrespectful," in the background, and it's just horrific, taking really shit pictures of something so, like, lame. I don't know. I don't get it. I do not get it. I don't know why people want to keep doing it.
It's like sort of Hobbit-like woman jumping up and down the street. I want to grab her camera and smash into the ground. It's just so rude.
It's so weird.
It's so depressing.
It's such a bad picture. Like they take a picture, like she stands next to the geisha, and their mate takes a picture, and it's the back of the geisha. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It's very awful. Yeah, she follows her all the way down the street, right? It did, like, the rounds all over the internet, and nasty stuff. It's like, do you not see the geisha as a person? It's just a woman in some clothes and an abundance of makeup. He's probably going to spend the next 6 hours dancing and singing to some drunk people in a room. Give us some sympathy. Don't follow her down the street. Don't treat her like that. Honestly, really bad stuff. But I mean, I see what you're saying, like, about everybody getting the same view. I mean, yeah, I don't know what's happening. So they put up this wall, right, and they're going to block it with this big black wall. And now I saw some people go and just get like a photo of the wall in front of Mount Fuji, which is the next thing. But I don't know. It's
the famous wall. People start putting little locks on them and stuff.
Yeah, I did see a friend of mine who was disappointed at it and was like, why didn't you try and find a way to exploit all the tourists going to this spot? Wasn't there a way you could like, cash in on that? And maybe there was a better way to handle it. Like, it reminds me of the aforementioned in a previous episode, the philosophy tree that got chopped down in Hokkaido, you know, as we talked about that. It's a shame. Maybe there was another way around it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then when you see the videos of tourists who don't have manners, you kind of understand, to be honest. And maybe it is a good idea to nip it in the bud now, because the number of tourists is going up like a rocket at the moment.
I think with modern kind of AI photoshopping on your phone, the old Google Pixel Delete or whatever you call it, people are really happy standing in a crowd full of people and taking any old picture of the thing, knowing full well they can probably tidy it up in post thanks to artificial intelligence. I would say that, like, you as a YouTuber, Chris, have an intense and distinct responsibility here. What you need to do is to thin out the ranks of the problematic tourists. You need to tell these tourists, you need to release a video about the cool Japan hole in the ground, right? And you say, you need to go down in this hole in the ground, guys, because there's something really Instagrammable down there. It's something really cool. It's the coolest thing you're ever going to see in Japan. And you're just pushing them into a big hole in Japan. Yeah, that they can't crawl out of. It's like mice. Like mice in a bucket.
I'd like to stick Ryotaro in the hole with a Gollum face mask on. Just Ryotaro tied to a wall. Get down the hole.
Like Silence of the Lambs. Oh, put the lotion in the basket.
That's a beautiful thought.
Yeah,
but,
lovely.
I don't know. Go and look at something else, for God's sake. There's so many good places in Japan that...
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time travelling out in the middle of nowhere, and there's nobody. And I to be honest, I kind of like that. Let them all go to Lawson and Mount Fuji, and I'll have the rest of Japan to myself.
Go Sakata, for crying out loud. That place,
goes up there.
I've been there once, and I didn't see anyone. It was insane. The streets are empty on like a Tuesday afternoon. Absolutely empty.
It's true. I'd say most of Tohoku, you won't ever run into another foreign tourist outside of like hotspots or certain temples, but it's
wild.
The last bastion of untouched Japan until somebody spots a family mart in front of a fucking shrine. We're back in just a moment, guys, with your stories, comments and questions over in the fax machine.
Wow.
And we're back with the fax machine. What do we got this week from our listeners, Mr. Donaldson?
We got a message from Christian from Berlin, Germany. Hey, Chris and Pete, I've been reading that physical Suica cards have been suffering shortages for the past year or two. It's unfathomable to think that a city like Tokyo, which relies heavily on public transport and is part of a country that is a chip manufacturer, cannot produce enough IC cards. Do you think they are purposely doing this so that people use a Suica card on their phones, therefore saving on the manufacturing costs? What's your take on the situation? Thank you so much to both of you for your work. Cheers. Christian from Berlin, Germany. Probably not a bad shout, to be honest, Christian. What would you say, Chris? What say you?
What say I? I say there's actually, this is a bit of a lie. Like, some friends come over to Japan recently, and we had this problem, and one of them couldn't get the Suica card on their phone, which, to be honest, is probably the best way to do it. But they went to like a big train station. I can't remember if it was Shibuya or Tokyo. And they asked one of the staff for an IC card at the information desk, and they're like, yeah, sure, have one. So it's a bit of a myth that they're extinct or they're, they do exist. And if you want one, just go to a big station, ask the tourist people, and they should be able to provide one. I think you can't really buy them. You used to be able to just get them in the machines, though, like in the ticket machines. You'd be like, IC card, and you could put your name on it and all sorts. Those were the days of simple time. Not anymore. Now I have to have an iPhone. But, they do exist, and they are there. They're just, you just got to ask for it. Rather than do it the old-fashioned way on the machine, and
I've got home after a journey in Japan, and I've taken a Suica card home, which means that which means I'm basically turning up, buying one, taking it out of the country. So I mean, I guess in really busy kind of like tourist hotspots, people are just sort of turning up, taking the Suica cards, and then they're never seen again, really. So but I did get two from the airport on the way in the last time I went. So
I have two here on my person. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the Suica card and the Welcome Suica card. Welcome Suica you can get at the airport. It lasts 2 weeks, and the regular Suica lasts forever. Unless you put it on your phone, which my friend discovered. Once you switch from you put the card number into your phone to activate the Suica on your phone. And once you've done that, the card's redundant. And she did that,
really?
And then regretted it massively because she'd rather have the card. She wanted a whole cake. She wanted the cake and to eat it, and now she can't. There's no cake.
Because I thought what was it? Suica. Suica isn't Suica like I thought it was like something to do with the watermelon, but it wasn't. It's not. It's a onomatopoeic sui sound for the card going through the machine, and card. Sui card, as you're pushing it through a little card reader.
No, you've made that up. I thought it was melon. I thought it was melon because Suica is melon. Apparently it stands for Super Urban Intelligent Card.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
You lie. Why would it be in English? Why would it be in English?
Urban Intelligent Card.
Rubbish.
Intelligent card. And because penguins can also can also swim smoothly through the water, a penguin is used as the motif. Super intelligent card.
We went through this about 2 years ago, what a Suica card means, and you said it was onomatopoeic for the sweet
I'll read out the
noise it makes.
Fax machine, and you read it out. You do your homework. Hello, guys. As an Aussie who lives in Japan, I find I miss certain foods from home. I travel around Tokyo trying to satisfy my cravings for meat pies and sausage rolls, but it's just not the same. My question to you both, Chris, do you have any foods from home you miss? And Pete, what Japanese cuisine are you craving? Is it Suica? Love the podcast. All the best. See you from Australia. And I would say I miss bacon the most. British back bacon.
Good bacon, yeah.
High quality British bacon. Although I do know a British dude who does like all the importing for British food, drinks and produce into Japan. And he did tell me the other day over dinner that he's going to start importing bacon into Japan. And I bought him a drink to congratulate him on this exceptional idea.
Well, it does last a fair whack, doesn't it? The old bacon. So you should be all right.
Absolutely. Bring all the bacon. Oh,
bring all the bacon.
What a great man.
Can you not just slice down some gammon? Because it's the same stuff in it.
No. Gammon is not bacon. Shut up. We've got one last question here from Nadia, who says, what do you miss, even though you're not in Japan?
I think we all know what I miss. It's an ice cream in a pack. It's coolish ice cream.
Of course, there you go. Nailed it. Nadia Ali 277 says, "Hello, Chris and Pete. Love the podcast. Chris, I have a question for you. With the influx of tourists, as somebody who lives in Japan, do you find it challenging to balance creating great content about rarely explored spots with the desire to keep certain places a bit more private for personal enjoyment? How do you navigate this? All the best, Nadia." That's a good question, actually. Something I always have to ask myself. But the truth is, with kind of further afield places that I like to promote, even if I do promote it and we see an influx of foreign tourists, it's never like too out of control. It's never been too bad for certain places. I'm trying to think of like an example. I guess like the city of Hachinohe in Aomori, where there's like a morning market and some cool little yatai stands. Nobody used to go there. Then we shouted it out in a video with Ryotaro. And yeah, there are quite a few foreign folks there. And we always used to get messages and photos from people that went up there, rode the bullet train 3 hours north to go there. And I was there recently, and I ran into some viewers, and it was really nice. So that's kind of cool. But it's not like Lawson Fuji level, right? So that's kind of good. But yeah, I'm definitely mindful of that. But I think,
at the end of the day, if you're going to sort of send people who only have limited time, and they're either going to do the Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto kind of run anyway. So if you're going up north, kind of past Sendai kind of way, there's just going to be fewer people who are able to sort of do that, who've got the free time to do so, because you've only got limited time.
I mean, the cool thing is with our listeners or viewers on Abroad in Japan, often they are folks, like you guys, who are returning folks to Japan. Yeah. So it's good, yeah. You guys often know all these like hidden spots we go to and whatnot, rather than the usual suspects of Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm always up for finding more hidden spots. I really am. And yeah, anything to get out of Tokyo. Been here 1 year now, and I love to
sick to the back teeth of it.
It's good. Maybe we talk about it in the next podcast. We'll save something for the next one. We've gone crazy on this one. We've talked about everything from David Bautista to Lawson to
we deleted about 5 minutes of the thing. Started again.
Absolutely.
Let's get on.
Let's hit the record button next time. Starring Pete Donaldson. Keep the stories, questions, comments coming into Abroad Japan Podcast at gmail.com. We'll be back in the next few days to do it all over again, guys. But for now, no matter where you might be, out there in the big wide world, have yourself a great few days. Eat a watermelon and enjoy your super intelligent, what was it? Super urban intelligent card.
Super urgent intelligent card. I don't know who gave you that information, Christopher, but I think it is awry.
Super urban. See you next time.